Hello, fellow educators. I am Shanna Pulowski, and I would like to welcome you to my blended professional learning course, The 5 Evidence-Based Practices of Successful Classrooms, a course for elementary school teachers that focuses on the prevention of and interventions for negative student behavior in the general education classroom. The course is based on the work of Brandy Simonson and others and provides classroom management strategies that are rooted in the origins of behavior challenges and teaches educators how to establish and teach consistent routines, procedures, and expectations and put in place organized systems of support for effectively handling misbehavior in the classroom setting. The course is roughly 20% synchronous, with the remaining majority consisting of asynchronous collaboration, independent work, and self-reflection. It's delivered through the Canvas Learning Management System. Grade level teachers who've been previously trained by a district specialist and who serve on the campus committee for multi-tiered systems of support, or MTSS, for student behavior will facilitate the 1-hour meetings for each course module that are spread out over the first semester of the school year. The role of the facilitators is to deliver the synchronous instruction and guide their grade level teammates through the learning and assessment activities. They'll also provide ongoing support in between meetings via classroom observations, demonstrations, meetings with team members, and open online communication via a GroupMe chat. Most of the course activity takes place in the participants' classrooms as they implement the knowledge gained and use the artifacts they create throughout the course into their own practice. This task-centered approach is based on Merrill's principles of instruction and promotes student-centered learning by allowing teachers to apply their learning and assess themselves and their progress throughout the course, with guidance and feedback from their team leader and other MTSS committee members as needed. Participants are also encouraged to share their experiences and expertise with each other via synchronous and asynchronous discussions, both within each grade level and the campus-wide learning community. The introduction module begins with a short welcome video in which I introduce myself and the course and emphasize the necessity of collaboration within the learning community of teachers, facilitators, and leadership team. I want participants to truly feel like they will personally benefit from the course and thus be motivated and enthusiastic about their investment in their own learning. There is an assurance of privacy included, also with the goal of encouraging participants to seek out guidance and feedback without worrying that they're being professionally evaluated in any way. Also in the introduction, learners will find the learning objectives and outcomes, as well as an assignment where they'll state their own personally desired outcomes for the course. There's a list of the required tasks that are necessary components of the final portfolio compilation that will be submitted for full course credit at the end of the semester. A page with the course resources, many of which will be provided in the first live meeting, and a brief note about how to navigate the course and where to find help using various Canvas components. Each of the following modules begins with the agenda for the week. This lists the topics that will be covered and activities to be completed, and the pages of the note-taking guide that they are aligned with. The live meeting for the week begins with an icebreaker activity. In week 1, participants will create a name tent from an index card that lists a few interesting facts about themselves, which they will then share with the group. The meeting slideshow that will be shown during the session is posted next for participants to reference as needed. They can click through the slideshow to see the slides, but these are being shown by the MTSS committee member that's holding the meeting. You can see the speaker notes by opening that, and this is basically what they're going to be saying, not word for word, but it gives the trainers an idea of how to present. just to kind of briefly review what the slideshow looks like. We have behavioral expectations, which is just how to conduct yourself during the meeting. And then we have the books that the course is based off of. Brandy Simonson and Diane Myers wrote Class-Wide Positive Behavior Interventions and Supports, and hopefully we'll have the resources to get a copy of this book per grade level or even per teacher, depending on funding. We also have John Wing's book, Excellence in Every Classroom, which is another great MTSS and PBIS reference. So this is just an overview, and this is what the first week is about. Just an overview of what is MTSS, what does it mean, what does it look like. Teachers that are taking this training will have had previous training in MTSS and Behavior 101 at the beginning of the year, but those are just short sessions that give them an overview of the MTSS process for Tier 1 behavior. Week 1 reviews the concepts of MTSS and classroom management and builds a foundation for the rest of the course by having learners discuss what classroom management is, why it's important, and what it looks like in practice. There's a video from Jerry Brooks with a humorous take on the topic. There's a short quiz where they actually have to do some math and calculate the impact of improving classroom management, both for the teacher and instructional time and also for administration. Here's an idea of what the discussion board looks like. This is for week 1, and they're encouraged to answer the questions here. After people have submitted their answers, they're going to share with the group. There's a pre-assessment tool for each teacher to measure their own skills in the context of what they'll learn in the coming weeks, and an assignment where they'll submit a link to their personal reflection blog, which they'll add to in between each live meeting and submit prior to the next live session. The format of their blog is up to them. The reflection blog should consist of their thoughts on the content and activities from the module, as well as comments, notes, or other information about how they applied their learning and or collaborated with facilitators or other colleagues in the time between that week's meeting and the next. I want them to think of this in the context also of their established outcomes that they decided at the beginning of the course. The week 2 module begins with the Would You Rather game and moves into instruction and discussion about how to maximize instructional time by carefully designing the physical and aesthetic structure of a classroom, and how establishing and teaching classroom routines function to prevent negative behavior. Participants will complete a list of routines that they will implement during the meeting and share their routines with the group. They'll click here to make a copy of the document, which has already been prepared for them, and all they have to do is fill in the table. There's also some questions that they'll have to answer afterwards. They can then submit their file to Canvas by pasting the URL, the sharing link. In the time before the next session, they'll use a virtual interior design tool called keyroomplanner.com to showcase how their room is arranged, or how they'd like it to be arranged to maximize the structure of their classroom. This is a pretty interesting tool. You can choose different classroom formats, different ways to arrange things. It has you put the dimensions of the room ahead of time, and then you can just move things around as needed. They will also update their reflection blog and resubmit the link to Canvas. This has been an overview of the first few modules in my professional learning course in Canvas. I appreciate you taking the time to view, and I welcome any feedback that you would like to provide. Thank you.